Welcome to both of you, and thank you for being on. Michael, if I can begin with you. First of all, I'm so sorry that you've been going through this for so many decades. I can't imagine what it would be like. But what happened in this case? What happened particularly with the boyfriend? That would be the first thing most of us would assume. If he came back without her, he had to have had something to do with it. What's his story?
Well, I didn't know that he came back. I after they went to Michigan, I never heard from him. I contacted his father, and his father really didn't talk to me, but gave me no indication that they had communicated. And so she called when she got to Michigan and said she would be back in touch, but she never called back.
So, Detective Nichols, was the boyfriend questioned ever, and is he a suspect at all in this disappearance?
Yeah, he was questioned. He was contacted by the Pennsylvania State Police where he lives, and he was cooperative with the interview at that time. And I expect that when we continue to reach out to him, he will be cooperative as we have further questions for him. To call him a suspect would be a misnomer. I think we don't have a suspect right now because we don't necessarily have a crime. Obviously, Cassandra's been missing for a long time, but we don't know what happened to her. We don't right now have any evidence other than the fact that we haven't heard from her in over 30 years that there's been any foul play. Obviously, at 19 as an adult, Cassandra can also choose to be gone or not come back around. So right now, Eric is a witness, and everybody that we talk to is a witness at this point.
So, Michael, the idea that the detective talks about is that adults can choose to be disappeared. They can decide to go off on their own. And then, like he said, maybe it's not a crime. In your heart, do you think that might be what happened? Or do you think there was something nefarious and something criminal that happened to your daughter?
Well, I'd like to think not, but it's certainly been on my mind that something happened to her. Both of my sons think something happened to her, or that, she was in constant contact with us until this time. So that she would leave and never contact anybody again just makes me feel that either something happened to her or somehow she started a new life that just kept going. And one day led to 10 to 100 to 30 years. That's a possibility.
Well, and let's talk about the last time that you were in contact with her. Right around the time that you last saw her, she sent a couple of letters that you've shared with us. So I just want to read them if I can. I don't know if it's informative or if it's just a moment in time, but she says, "Dear Dad, please, will you ever forgive me? I'm in trouble and I don't know when I'll be back. I will call and write. God knows I love you." And then another letter she writes says this: "I don't know when this will all be over and seem like a bad dream. Dad, there is one thing I ask. Please, I'm begging you, don't say anything about Eric. He's my only chance. And if it gets mentioned, I will never come home. I love him. Don't try to find me, please. It will only make things worse. I'll call you very soon. I'm doing fine. Okay?" So, Michael, it's so confounding. Did you ever hear from her again after that? And
No, that was
is that the
last
reason
time.
you didn't report her missing till about 2019?
Well, it's like that. She was 19. She was 2 months away from being 20. So if she left on her own free will, she's not really missing, And she said she was fine and okay. Don't try to find her. So, I don't know. When that day happened, I didn't start out thinking, well, I'll never hear from her again. So when it was a year, then it was 2 years, and it was a year or so before I got the anonymous phone call from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. And I thought that was her just saying, "I'm okay, leave me alone," So I never.
Well, Let me do this. Let me put up on the screen a couple of numbers for anybody who might be watching who knows something, because I know, Detective, that you say it's hard when you're looking at cases in the 80s. There's no cell phones, there's no video, there's no doorbell cams. It's really just someone might know something. So if you out there, folks, if you have any tips about Cassandra Durham, please call Sergeant Nichols. That's his number. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.